أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله وعمنا والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين ربي اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي أما بعد السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. نبدأ حصتنا اليوم بقراءة من كتاب الفاتحة. We open our class today with كتاب الفاتحة. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله وعمنا الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين إن شاء الله. So today we're going to discuss on الجرح والجرح والتعديل and also المروات. So today is actually it's not that long topic, but the topic that we are going to discuss today is related. Yes, it's actually a replacement for two class, on Wednesday class and also for the last Monday class. So inshallah. What is our topic all about? Like what I discussed in our class, Al-Jarh wa Ta'lil is some sort of the things that you give what I call this justice to the rawi, right? So in the study of hadith, not all rawi that narrate hadith from our Prophet Sallam is on the same level, every one of them, but they are on different position from one another in every angle. This why this because the knowledge or the study of hadith can be divided into this is the reason that why the study of hadith have this kind of specification, which is the jarh wa ta'dil, or the knowledge of jarh wa ta'dil, which the people will discuss, or which of the scholar will discuss on the position describe the scholars again on the status of one rawi, because it will also relate on the condition of the hadith that leads to the the position of the hadith. So what is a jarh? Jarh, some said as can be said as accusation. In istilah can also said as showcasing the aib or the weakness of the rawi, and that will lead to the rejection of his narration. Some as the accusation perhaps on its justfulness, or on his memorization. And ta'dil, on the otherwise, in the language term, is mean to accept the narration, but in terms of silah can mean as taqdis, some sort, or making that narrators accepted. Right. So they are saying by Sheikh Muhammad Ajaj Al-Khatib on the definition of Jarh wa Ta'dil, like العلم الذي يبحث في أحوال الرواة من حيث قبول روايتهم أو ردها. The knowledge that discuss on the condition of the rawi of hadith, it is accepted or not, or on the narration, right? Okay, so we go to our discussion for today. الجهر والتعديل في العلم الرواة. So الجهر tadi is all discussion on credibility, right? Remember that the position of hadith is authoritative in our sharia, so it is very important to ensure that the hadith has the most probability of authenticity. So what is jarh? Like you take a knife, you do jarhun, mean some sort of luka in the meaning. Ta'dil is putting something on a rightful place. Jarh is literally to injure. It is to discredit a narrator by proving whether he was ever declared a fabricator of hadith or a liar in daily conversation, or whether he was of poor memory, or whether he was ever declared as unidentified majhul, etc. On ta'dil is the opposite of jarhun, is establishment of worthiness. To accredit a narrator by establishing his position as either wholly trustworthy, merely trustworthy, or acceptable, so on and so forth. Right. Al-Jarh wa Ta'dil. So the hadith transmitter criticism and isnad evaluation begin in full with the first generation renowned hadith critic, that is Shu'bah ibn al-Hajjaj, Malik ibn Anas, Sufyan al-Sari, Al-Layth bin Sa'ad, and Sufyan ibn Uyaynah, who flourished in the mid to late 8th century. Right. So the criticism has started already and the establishment has started in their era. So they begin the process of collecting people hadith narration and examining both their bodies of material and their characters to determine if the material they provide could be trusted. But if you go to the Western perspective, this is called as some sort of fallacy when you determine the saying of the people and look at their character. So they call this as what? Forgot the terms. When you are taking the character without looking at what they are saying. But in Islam, we take this as some sort of importance also, because it will lead to the greatest probability of that person lying also. So the apex and most active period of hadith transmitter criticism is actually considered to be the 8th to 10th century. So the justification, why we can criticize people like this in Islam. Allah Ta'ala said, Ya ayyuhalladzina amanu, in ja'akum fasiqun binaba'in fatabayyanu an tusibu qawman bijahalatin fatusbihu ala ma fa'altum nadimin. Believers, if a troublemaker bring you news, check it first in case you wrong others unwittingly and later regret what you have done. Remember that Asbab Nuzul is not related actually on someone who are kafir or something. It's based on the Asbab Nuzul is based on the another Sahabah actually, who brings not fake news because he's not faking it, but he not give. Sorry, just a minute if I can find the Asbab Nuzul for this. Alright, a bit on the story of Asbab Nuzul of this surah. This surah was revealed to incidents of one of the Sahaba, which is Walid ibn Uqbah. Right, Walid ibn Uqbah is the Osman half brother through his mother, and he was also a Sahaba, a fourth one. If I it's one of the Sahaba. And the story came when Rasulullah had selected him for the collection of zakat and sadaqah. And Walid was deputed to the tribe of Banu Mustalik. When he reached those places, and the people came out in numbers to welcome him. But when he saw them advancing, he ran away, thinking that they had recanted from the faith and coming to attack him. So he went to Prophet Salam and told him that Banu Mustalik had recanted him and refusing to pay the zakah. So Salam expressed surprise at this report and wanted to take steps to reprimand and punish them. When Bani Mustalik heard of this, they came to the Prophet Salam and said, "Oh, Prophet, we have received a wrong report about us. We have neither recant for the faith, nor we have refused to pay the zakah." So Allah revealed this ayah. So in terms of this thing, although it's reprimanded to the Sahaba actually for you to find or for you to check on things, particularly when it related to our religion. So there is and the scholars of the past also has also did this kind of thing. The son of Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal narrated that Abu Turab and Naqshabi once came to my father Ibn Hanbal, which is Ahmad ibn Hanbal, when my father was saying, so and so is weak and so is reliable. So Abu Turab there open stated, "Oh Sheikh, do not slander," which means that he said they do not say bad thing on this thing, commit ribah upon the man of knowledge, some scholars. So what Imam Muhammad bin Hanbal said, my fathers turned toward him and said, "Woe unto you, this is counsel, this is nasihah, not slander, ribah." Right, so we have to understand in terms of this academic term, if you do want to become critical, it is okay. It's not some sort of disrespect to the past scholar or something like that. It is doing the right things in terms of knowledge. Okay, this is not sahih, not slander. Okay. Okay, so there are also hadiths that support this. Istazana ala Nabi SAW رجل فقال ائذنوا له فبئس ابن العشيرة أو بئس أخو العشيرة فلما دخل الآن الآن له الكلام فقلت له يا رسول الله قلت ما قلت ثم ألنت له في القول فقال يا عائشة إن شر الناس منزلة عند الله من تركه أو ودعه الناس اتقاء فحشه. So a man has asked permission to see Prophet Salam. So Prophet Salam said, "What? Let him come in. What an evil man of the tribe he is." So Salam said it to Aisha, "Let that person comes, but he is someone who an evil brother he is." But after that, man entered Prophet Salam, spoke to him gently, and treated him well in a polite manner. So Aisha asked Prophet Salam, "Oh Rasulullah, you have said before this something bad about that person. Then you spoke to him in very gentle and polite manner. What is this difference?" Rasulullah said, "The worst people in the sight of Allah are those whom the people leave undisturbed to save themselves from their dirty language." Meaning that that it's not the Salam mentioned that as nasihah actually to Aisha, or to mention the position of that person. It's not some sort of this. That's why you need still to do good deeds, even to the bad things, but to forgive nasiha to that person. So some person, for example, if some person if befriending someone who are not good, for the sake of nasiha, you can give the nasiha, telling the position of that person actually like this and like that. That it's not considered as a riba, right? But still, you need to treat the others or some of those who came for you, because the one who Salah mentioned that the worst people in the sight of Allah, those who are people live, because what you are saying is something we call this as some sort of or I'm some people might say lah, I am someone who tak berlapik, or someone who just said what they want. I am trustworthy, something. I am someone who clear without any mask and everything, right? But those who are worse in the sight of Allah, those who are leave people undisturbed to save themselves from the editing language. So though people leave, we mean people are not going to, did not dislike sitting in your companionship because of what your adab and everything, your bad adab and everything, right? So it's okay for a nasiha, but for you to saying bad thing like this is two different things for on people, right? So the evaluation of the transmitter. Okay. So the hadith transmitter was evaluated according to criteria. Uh, First, his or her character, correct belief and level of piety are scrutinized in order to determine if he or she was upright or adil. Transmitter corpus of report and narration practice were evaluated to decide if he or she was accurate. So there are two things: adil, character, and dobit, accurate in terms of memorization. And then credibility. I think this one we already passed, right? Al-Jarh wa ta'dil here. What's its own definition? Okay, credibility ada is it the same thing? Okay, right. So what is adalah? The justness or the trustworthiness or the moral integrity of the narrator. Alright, one who is consistent in religion, exhibit good conduct, free from indulging in sins and matters which could affect one's dignity. Alright, someone who are trustworthy in his daily life and everything, then he holds this adalah. And Bob, memorization, someone perhaps who are adil or are good in character but do not have good memorization, perhaps precision, sound memory, accurateness, and meticulous of a narrator. Possess good memory since one receive a hadith until the one transmit it, or the ability to narrate hadith from memory anytime required. Documentation of hadith preserved from the time it was written, no addition, change, just etc. were made. So this is the Ibn Hajar ranks of narrator. The first one would be the Sahabi and companions. Narrator is the best lah. All the companions are adil, justful, right? And narrators who are emphatically praised, which mean that the scholars use these superlative words, great words to commend these scholars, to man the narrators, such as most reliable of narrators. This term would be in Arabic, awthaqun nas. Or they also use some repeating words. So when you repeat some praise, it become great, right? Such as he is trustworthy. He is thiqah, right? Or in meaning such as reliable, a great memorizer of hadith, or he put an additional commendation on that. Thiqah hafiz. The third level, narrator who have been praised with a single word only, for example, trustworthy only, thiqah only, or masterful, mutqin only, or strong, dabit only, or right, adil. Simple. Right? The first one, sahabah. The second one, he put a great words for him, or he put two words for him, or two combination of words are good. The third will be only one. The fourth one will be less reliable than one of the third labels. He only use a media keyword. Saduk, truthful, he is alright, la ba'sa bihi, or there is nothing wrong with him, laysa bihi ba'sa. Right? And the fifth one, a narrator less reliable than one on the fourth level. He is truthful, then he puts some critics. But weak of memory. He is Saduk, say al-habs. He have good bad memory. He is truthful, Saduk, but he does err. Saduk yahim. Or he does have errors. Saduk lahu awham, or he makes mistake يخطئ, or he change at the end تغير بآخره, accused of some kind of innovation such being Shi'i, Qadiri, Nasibi, etc. And the sixth one would be narrated to have few hadith and there is no evidence that would call for leaving the hadith. Then some makbul only. Have few hadith and there are no evidence that would call for leaving the hadith. So it's just okay, right? And then narrators for whom more than one person has reported, but there is no definite judgment about them that are reliable. There will be one person reported, but it's they, we cannot judge them also that they are trustfully, they are trustful, right? Undisclosed quality, mastur al hal. Remember in the last recording, I mentioned on some hadith that we do not know their position. Mastur al hal, majhul, unknown quality, majhul al hal. And then if it's one narrators whom no one whose word count has judged as reliable, while there are description of them as weak, such as expression are not detailed. Though such expression not detailed. So there are people, of course, scholars consider him as weak, but the detail of why he's weak are not detailed. So just da'if, for example. Or narrator from whom there is more than a single narrator and whom no one has definitely judged reliable. So all people from whom there is even more than one narrator, only one. Also in the hadith ta'if that we mentioned in our last lesson, one have different, no one can definitely judge reliable, unidentified majhul. Or the 10th one, narrator who have not been judged reliable at all and who have been judged weak because of the Beijing accusation. This one is problematic lah, starting to get more and more problematic. Discarded, matruk, or hadith are discarded, matruk al hadith, weak in hadith, wahil hadith, or drop, saqit, right? Remember in our last lesson, it's all included in the weak or rejected hadith mardud. Those who have been accused of lying, muttaham bil kazib, matruk and matruk, matruk. Those have been definitely been called liar, kazab, or fabricator of hadith, wada, hadith mawdu'. Alright, this is part of this. That's all the level. And remember, to be justful for them, you have to have some common principle. You have to know all of these things. For example, the one if you refer to the scholar for saying that, you have to also look at their position also. Uh, we do not accept the attack by some who can be seen as competitor. So those who is an enemy of one another or having a certain disagreement should not be taken into heavy consideration. For example, Imam Nasa'i versus Imam Ahmad bin Salih al-Misri and Ibn Abi Zi'bi versus Imam Malik bin Ma'in versus Shafi'i. So all of this is some sort, they have some sort of dispute between each other. So you cannot take this opinion of one scholars on the position of another scholars that is in dispute with these scholars, right? The second one, of course, you're going to have a bad review. If you are against this, hate this person, and have disagreement with him, of course, your review will be negative. Then a narrator may be reliable when he narrated in certain town, but not in the others. Uh, Yaqub bin Shaybah stated, tradition reported by Hisham are reliable except those that are reported through the people of Iraq. Hisham was one of the one who reported the story of Aisha marriage to the people of Iraq. So this is also pretty similar. Sorry. So this is familiar. Every hadith that came from Hisham are all reliable, except when it came from the people of Iraq. Perhaps there are some problem at this part. Perhaps there are something have been created or some of the people of Iraq that really narrated or from the Hisham have some issues or something like that. That's usually the hadith that came from Hisham that came from the people narrated from perhaps have some problems. Okay. We have to understand also this thing. Perhaps something happens that we might know. Why all these people are at this place. Hisham was the one who reported the story of Aisha marriage. Marriage to the people of Iraq. Okay, let me see. Okay. On the case of Hisham, many of the scholars uh, on the story of when I think this is related to the story of Aisha marriage when he was 9 years old, if I'm not mistaken, or 6 years old when he got married to our Prophet Salam. Um, so the hadith actually narrated by Hisham, narrated by in sorry. Some mention that this hadith actually that Rasulullah married with Aisha, those who rejected Aisha and Rasulullah married with Aisha in the when she was 6 or 9 years old. This hadith that mentioned is actually by Hisham bin Urwah. So uh, many of the scholars consider that his narration is sahih, except after he migrated to Iraq. After he migrated to Iraq, there are some sort of confusion in terms of his narration. Imam Zahabi also mentioned this, that Hisham has waham when already all of the narration when he went to Iraq he have waham in term of his memorization. Imam Malik also mentioned the same thing, that Hisham Darwah uh, has issues when he narrated hadith after he went to Iraq on matters related to Aisha. And many scholars mention that the narration by Hisham is accepted except after he migrated to Iraq. Alright. And Sam also mentioned that the hadith on the age of Aisha when she got married was taken by Hisham. Actually came from someone who named as Ali al-Mushir, who stayed in Kufa. Alright, so there is some common principle lah. Some scholars like Malik bin Anas mentioned that or rejected the riwayat by Hisham that have been noted by someone from Iraq. Perhaps someone from Iraq have said something that Hisham did not say, or perhaps there are some sort of thing that happened to Hisham when he was in Iraq. Right. So the hadith, perhaps, if I'm not mistaken, the hadith that Rasulullah married with Hisham when she was Rasulullah married with Aisha when she was 6 years old. Right. Right. So al-Marwah. Now we are in the parts of al-Marwah. Okay. Uh, so how do we know all of these things? How do we know of the problems by this ruwah? We cannot suddenly come to the era and we study back on the past, and then we say this person is wrong, some this problem. All of this need to be done best by those who live in the era, or some people who live in the past, because they are nearer to that person. They know the reality of the things at that time, right? If you are making some conjecture of some person position who lived 1,000 years before, is not going to be fair, right? Because you are speaking on your own perspective of today era. So علم الرواة التفقه في معاني الحديث نصف العلم ومعرفة الرجال نصف العلم. So understanding the meaning of hadith is half of the knowledge. Recognizing the narrator is half of knowledge. So in the study of knowledge, we need to understand first the hadith also, and also the narrator itself. This is called by Ali bin al-Madini, recorded by Aram Hormuzi in Muhaddith al-Fasil. Right. So how do we know? The first book, perhaps some of the book that we can refer to will be the book of Tabaqat. Uh, because the book of Tabaqat represent a biographical dictionary of early generations started based on cohort. Usually the list of narrator who received from the same teacher. For the level lah, you are in the cohort 2000, 2020 in this Tabaqah, right? The levels. The Prophet Sahabah is also considered as Tabaqah. So Tabaqah Sahabah, Tabaqah Tabi'in, Tabi'in, everything. Alright? So there is a narrator who received from the same teacher or informant. Informants or narrator who are in the same age group. Some of the book, Tabaqat al-Kubra by Ibn Sa'ad, and Tabaqat by Khalifah ibn Khayyat. And the second one will be At-Tawarikh. Tawarikh is Tarikh. Tarikh is history. With the emergence of the Tashih movement, the Tawarikh genre, transmissional biography, a bit was introduced. The aim was to supply the hadith evolution activities with information on the narrator. So Tawarikh is to understand the name of the people. For example, At-Tarikh by Ibn Ma'in and Tarikh Kabir by Al-Bukhari. And then Athiqah, specific record of trustworthy and accepted narrators. So the book written only the names of those who considered as trustworthy. So some of the book that I can refer to, Ma'rifah Thiqah by Al-Injili, and Kitab Thiqah, Thiqah by Ibn Hibban. And then so when there are books on Thiqah, they also book on Du'afat, those are weak. Specific record of weak and discarded narrator. You can refer to Kitab Al-Du'afa Al-Kabir by Abu Ja'far Al-Uqayli and Kitab Al-Du'afa wa Al-Matrukin by Ibn Al-Jawzi. Also, they also book specific on, like the example of Tabaqah, they is specific on some groups. Al-Thabah by biographical dictionaries. For example, in the Hayatul Sabah also, Tabligh books, Biographical Dictionary of the Company of the Prophet, for example, Mu'jam al-Sahabah by Ibn Qani, Ma'rif al-Sahabah by Abu Nu'aym al-Isfahani. And then also a canonical mean by arrangement, ruwat genre, index of narrator traced in the specific canonical collection by numbers by A, Alif, and other thing. For example, Al-Kamal fi Asma' al-Rijal by Abdul Ghani al-Maqdisi, and Tahzib al-Kamal fi Asma' al-Rijal by name, for Alif, Ba, Ta, something like that. And then biographical dictionary, biographical dictionary of important figure who reside in or recited a particular era. For example, the place, for example, those who are the ulama of Nusantara, for example, book like this. For example, Tarikh Madinah As-Salam, History of Baghdad by Khatib al-Baghdadi. Or Tarikh Dimash, History of Damascus by Ibn Asakir, on one place, biographical. Or the Nativity and Obituary Index, the Nativity. Dictionaries of narrators arranged based on the year of birth or the year of Dimash. Wafat wa al-A'yan. Right? For example, Taghrib Mawli' Ulama wa Wafatihim by Abu Sulaiman al-Zabr al-Raba'i. Al-Wafayat al-A'yan wa Anba' Abna al-Zaman, based on years. The day who die in this era, in this era. Al-Wafi bi Al-Wafayat bi by As-Safadi. And then a new tabaqat genre, not that new actually, but it's also some sort of tabaqat, many composition in tabaqat when combined Muslim based on schools of thought, on fiqh, tabaqah fuqaha al-Shafi'iyah, rank of scholar in the Shafi'i school of legal thought, tabaqat al-Hanabilah, rank of scholar in the Hanbali school of legal thought, tabaqat al-Qurra based on Quranic reciters, tabaqat al-Mufassirin, rank of exegetes, tabaqat al-Tibba, rank of physician, doctors, right? Tabaqat Sufiyah, rank of the Sufis. No, you can read a new tabaqat, for example, based on this also. For example, you can also read tabaqat based on what? Based on the leaders or the our lectures, right? We have lectures on the early IUM, the mid and the new one, and also can create a new tabaqat. This is the reference. I think that's all. You can refer this all time to the Tadli for his books and everything. Alhamdulillah. So I finished the discussion on Jarh wa Ta'dil and Ilm al-Ruwat, and we may close our class. Tasbih kafaran salatul asr wa bika ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilaik wa la inna insana fi khusr alladhina amanu wa amilus salihati wa tawassaw bil haqqi wa tawassaw. Wallahu ta'ala alam. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.